How's it going, guys? Winter Kills here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Saturday Night Locals. I believe this is episode 77. The playlist is a little bit messed up. It seems like it's missing some episodes. I'm not really sure how, but it is. This is actually Saturday night, so we're moving on from our Tuesday night Locals, extravaganza. Round one, and obviously I'm playing Infernoble Night, the Sinful Spoils. Infernoble Night deck. If you guys want to see my profile, it's uploaded on the channel. I also uploaded a combo video as well, so if you guys want to get acclimated to some of the cool combos that you can do with the deck, definitely check that video out. A lot of helpful feedback on that video as well, especially regarding the 2 warrior combo, which thank you to everybody that brought up those corrections, because that's something I'm going to be doing going forward and correcting that combo to make it better. So I draw phase wanted, like you should always, just to avoid droll. But I ended up running into a D shifter, so at this point I'm like, all right, I could be playing against Fluandereeze. Like, I have no idea what I'm possibly playing against. So I decide to just like commit here. Not really sure why. I go for Ogier, and I already have the Renault in hand, so I'm like, all right, whatever Ogier sends, I can just add back, right? And sort of keep playing. Again, I don't know why I did this. Like, I thought maybe I'd get somewhere with this play. Like, a Sold is obviously not an option. We don't have a graveyard. I could have gone for Angelica. Angelica still grabs Field Spell. Field Spell grabs, like, Durendal, I guess. And then I can equip the Durendal to the Angelica and, like, banish it to summon Gear Free with no equip. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going down the rabbit hole there. There's a couple of things that I could have done maybe differently, or I could have just passed and not done anything, which is something I really didn't want to do, just because, like, I don't like ending on an open field if I don't have to. Like, yeah, you know, the deck gets hurt a lot by shifter, but I'd rather end on something than nothing. And, I have 2 hand traps in hand, technically only 1 because of droll, and my opponent starts Fenrir, so I'm like, okay, this is still kind of throwing me off. At least I'm able to establish SP Little Knight to have some form of interruption and help to sort of establish a, in quotes, grind. It's also a warrior body that can kind of just, like, act as interruption, etc., etc. I mean, it's SP Little Knight, right? So, like, it is what it is. And, of course, the one of us, both Ogier and Renault, getting banished, not that big of a deal at the end of the day, because they are still, able to be recycled via Magus, via Almace. You can always get stuff back pretty much no matter where it is. And there's me not pulling an ulti for the 1000th week in a row, and my opponent goes battle phase after searching another copy of Fenrir with Fenrir. That's why I was hesitant on even chaining SP Little Knight too, because he just slap another Fenrir on the field. I didn't want to Ash because that just forces the Fenrir and then forces the SP. I felt like that was just too much, maybe too early to do that. So he goes battle phase, attacks into Little Knight, and he uses the Fenrir effect. I still SP effect banish both SP and Fenrir, and then main phase 2 he summons the other Fenrir, which of course I was expecting, right? Not really super surprised by that. I don't know, like, I'm sure other Infernoble players are probably watching this. What would you have done if you got hit with a shifter there and you had the hand that I had? Would you have, like, just done nothing? Would you have done the play that I did? Would you have gone for some weird Angelica line? I don't know. Let me know. And of course, I have to draw Fenrir for turn, which, I mean, I still, don't get me wrong, I love Fenrir in this deck. I love it being non-engine, a quote-unquote board breaker, and also being access to engine at the same time. I love it. Just a little awkward to draw here, and I decided to discard the Droll and Lockbird because, like, if anything, I'd rather keep the Fenrir, which is technically dead right now. I'd rather keep it just in case my board does get cleared at some point. I summon the Diabellstar, activate the effect to set Snake Eye. I'm like, are you going to use the effect of Fenrir here? Nothing on resolution, so we are kind of in the clear. And I can at least go battle phase and early, clear out one of the Fenrirs, which I thought about doing. But I have this Ash Blossom in my hand, and I'm like, you know what? It's not really a play that you make super often, but I think this is going to be one of those times where this play actually comes up, where I normal summon Ash. Take a page out of the Cashier playbook, right? Normal summon a hand trap, and then synchro off into Baron. Because I don't really need the Dark Witch on the field at this point. Like, I guess I could also have made another SP to, like, banish one. And and then he chains the other one on res, and then I chain. I guess I technically could have done that, but I mean, this also, like, I guess this also works too, right? That's one of the reasons why I wanted to start doing the commentaries more so on this Infernoble deck, because again, it's a deck that I'm really getting into as sort of like my main deck, and I really want to take the time to sit down and kind of analyze my own gameplay, not only for my benefit, but for other people who might be playing this deck as well. So I do go for the Baron. I go Baron, pop, or I think I went Battle Phase first. Yeah. I think I go Battle Phase first. Or no, I didn't go Battle Phase. I just go pop the one and then negate and destroy the other. I don't know why the one got banished. It's a little weird. If that is a Fenrir banish, yeah, I don't know why that got banished. But then main phase 2, I go for Isolde, and I make sure to get some damage in first with both the Baron and the SP before I link into Isolde, and that potentially gets stopped. But he ashes the first effect, which is obviously a huge throw. You never want to ash the first effect of Isolde. That's literally just the worst possible thing that you could do. Just an FYI. But the Isolde gets to resolve here, and Ogier is out of deck. As you can see, it's already banished. This is where playing a second Ogier technically could be nice, but I really haven't missed the second one. And there's still a lot we can do even from this position alone, because we have access to Snake Eye. The only thing is weird, though. Let's say my opponent ashed in the proper place. You know, that does make things a little bit awkward, obviously. Just a little bit awkward. Although we could still summon Gearfried, because we do get the Equips into the grave as cost. We still have Snake Eye, which can still bring out Ricky Ardetto, which can still help us get into another SP with the Gearfried, or we can make, well, let's say we make Baron, but we already made our one Baron. So this play is actually pretty cool, and it could have been made a lot better, actually. So I get the Gearfried on field by banishing the Durendal, and then I equip it with that Divine Sword, which I banished SP and Baron with. And I just love the Divine Sword shenanigans, and I really could have taken more advantage of them as I Snake Eye away the Isolde, and obviously I don't want to Snake Eye away the Divine Sword, just because I need that to be able to have Gearfried be live. So we synchro into Angelica with the help of the Ricky Ardetto, and I actually didn't need to use Ricky Ardetto's effect there to revive anything, because we didn't have any good targets to revive. Actually, I don't know if we had any targets to revive at all, so no need in using that. No need to Warrior Lock unnecessarily, so just in case I need to go into something that isn't a Warrior, which I don't think I even would at this point. Then we go into the field spell. We pay 12. We search out Almace, because I'm trying to grab back Renault, because that is banished, and Almace, importantly, can grab back from grave or banish. Even though 99% of the time it feels like I always use it to grab back from grave, but it's also good to remember, especially for a situation like this where, you know, we got hit with D-Shifter and we need to get something back from the banish zone. And also, Modges here can sort of accomplish that same thing by, you know, recycling those banish cards. And we haven't used Turpin's Graveyard effect, so we do that now. And then we Synchro 9 into Charles the Great, Infernal Knight Emperor Charles. And yeah, I'm just double checking the text there on Almace. I'm like, yep, this can grab things back that are banished. So I equip it to the Charles. That's going to allow us to link into Emperor Charles the Great. And then we go Chainlink 1 Emperor Charles, Chainlink 2 Almace, although I probably should do it the other way around to chain block Bell, I guess. Add back the Renault, and then importantly remember to equip the Synchro to the Link. It's something I have forgotten mid-combo in the past, in a winning position, so don't make the same mistake. Field Spell brings up, now we're Warrior Locked, equip it with Modges, and then link into another Charles Link. And we're going to Chainlink 1 Charles here, Chainlink 2 Modges, we're going to put back Almace, put back Turpin, put back Ogier. Always try to put back an equip spell, at least me personally, make sure any museums I draw later on are live. I've got a target engraved, because it's not always necessarily about getting the search off of the field spell that's good. It's that effect to unlock the equip special summon, which is oftentimes the best thing. Now, my end board is already 2 spell trap negates a pop plus a monster negate, but I could have gone a step further here. I could have summoned Renault added back the DDR and then DDR out Baron since we did properly summon it. So I could have done that. I should have done that, honestly, just to secure the game that much more. Because, like, why not? I also just forgot to bring back Angelica, which I luckily remember there. I also forgot to resolve Emperor Charles's end phase effect to equip the ring and then, like, an Oliver from the deck. So that was, like, a huge rookie mistake there. So now we're into game 2 as my opponent missed a feed. I still have no idea what they're playing. The only thing we've seen is hand traps and Fenrir. So, like, I mean, at this point, it could still literally be a lot of things. And now that we're seeing Road, I'm sure most people probably know what this is. It is Vanquish Soul, which Vanquish Soul is a deck that I feel like I play against every once in a blue moon. So I tend to forget the deck exists. I know the deck is good, don't get me wrong. It's definitely a great deck, especially in the hands of the right pilot. One of my friends actually topped recent YCS with it. I think it was Indy. And yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I uploaded the profile to my channel, I should know. But he top 32'd with the deck. Very strong deck. It just didn't put 2 and 2 together. D-Shifter, Fenrir, until here we are in the second game. So they go Stake Your Soul into Jiaolong, I believe is the name. The real double fighter, and I think it's double Raisin. And that searches the Snow Devil, which is just a very interesting trap. Yeah, Soul, Vanquish Soul, Snow Devil. And it has a bunch of effects like burn and pop and summon and do all these weird things I can't remember offhand. So I just wanted to give it a read before because I'd never read this card before. So I wanted to make sure I had a decent understanding of what it did. Also, nothing against my opponent. Absolutely nothing against my opponent. They're a super nice guy. But one thing that is a pet peeve of mine when it comes to playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In person, if I pick up a card to read it, please don't start telling me what the card does while I'm trying to read it, because then my brain just goes to TV static. Like, you're talking to me while I'm trying to read, and then I just cannot read, and then, like, it's just, why did I even pick up the card in the first place? Like, you know what I mean? That's probably just, like, me just complaining, but, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that's a fair thing. I don't know. I mean, I'm guilty of that. I've done that to people. I try not to. Like, if my opponent wants to do something, I hand him the card, I just, like, there you go, read it. I'm not going to try to interrupt you in the middle of your reading, right? So my opponent summons a Heavy Borger, reveals D-Shifter as Dark to draw one, and then links into the Vanquish Soul Link, as expected. And my hand's pretty solid. It's pretty solid for going first. Is Angelica's Ring in my opening hand? So yeah. This right here is a classic. What you guys are seeing is a classic example of missiding. Like the Angelica's Ring, hands down, should not be in your deck going second. And DDR is questionable. You can side out DDR. I would recommend it. So those two cards could have been non-engine, and that's just my fault. Now, another thing I had going against me is that I did not know what I was playing against. Maybe if I was a bit more in tune with the meta, I could have, again, put 2 and 2 together that, hey, it's Vanquish Soul. But I think the only thing I put in Nib was Nib, and I think I maybe sided out, like, the 3 Wanteds. I don't know if you'll see them in my deck here. Or whatever else I ended up siding in. Again, I have no idea. But yeah, so the just general rule of thumb, like, always side out Angelica's Ring going second. Always side out DDR. And I think you can leave in Divine Sword. I think Divine Sword's a fair card to leave in. Because again, like, they are great engine cards to have, don't get me wrong, but like, when it comes down to going into a board, like, you want as much help as possible in some cases. And you just don't want to have the chance of drawing bad equips. Like, they're not, like, DDR and Angelica's Ring aren't bad in the right situation, but, like, going second, like, you don't want your 6th card to be Angelica's Angelica Ring. You don't want your 6th card to be DDR. Unless you got, like, Shifted or something. I guess maybe then it could kind of help, but probably not. So my opponent is doing more things. Resolving a bunch of effects here. They resolve another Jiaolong. And, you know, I know the trap is set. And I have not used Dolphin here. So I'm debating on using the Dolphin, which my opponent's hand is also loaded at this point, and I believe I know a decent chunk of their hand. I think I know it's like double Raisin, D-Shifter, and then the card that they just added off of the Jiaolong. So it's Mad Love, Raisin, Fenrir, DD Crow, and Caesar Valius. So it's like I gotta worry about DD Crow, which we're actually hitting the DD Crow out of the hand, so I don't actually have to worry about that. But it's like the Caesar Valius pop and the trap are all, you know, potential issues. And then also Raisin effect on summon, like that's also a potential thing. He has Mad Love in hand too. Lots of follow-up here potentially as well. So my next play, I activate the Fire Flint Lady, special summon that to the field. It is importantly a level 1, so now I can actually make Relinquished Anima, which I've said in the profiles. Like these Link 1s don't come up that much, but this is one of those rare occasions where it is coming up to help apply some pressure. I attempt to, you know, suck up the Heavy Borger, and that's going to force out the Caesar Valius in the hand to go ahead and, you know, special summon it. And now here I'm like, okay, now I can link it to SP Little Knight, right? This is exactly what this, you know, this extra deck package, if you will, is for. It's doing its job. We're forcing things out. We're trying to break the board here. Again, if it weren't for me missiding, I could have had more non-engine, potentially make the board less of a board. And I think I'm targeting the set card here with SP Little Knight to try to enforce that. And I probably should, just for reference, pull that card up on Wikipedia, just so I know exactly what it says. Says, reveal up to 1 each of Dark, Earth, and Fire monsters in your hand, apply the following effects in sequence. So 1, 400 damage, then you can special summon a Vanquish Soul from the hand. 2, inflict 600. Then Vanquish Souls cannot be destroyed by card effects. And then 3, 800 damage, and then destroy all monsters on the field. So he's able to do all of those. So his Vanquish Souls get protection, and he gets to summon one from hand, and he gets to destroy all monsters I have on the field. So, and I chain SP Little Knight to that. And I banish his Link, just because, like, the Link's really good, right? So we want to get that off the board. And I take a bunch of damage, 600, 800. I thought it was only just, like, one of the 3, but when I first read it, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! Players can't read. I thought it was, like, you only be able to apply 1. No, he gets to do all of them. So I lose the whole field, and now I still have to worry about the Caesar Valius pop, which again, that's like the last thing. That's it. Like, there's nothing else I have to worry about at this point, in terms of his field. Like, that's it. It's literally the Caesar Valius pop, which I know is live, because again, we saw the entire hand. I mean, with Vanquish Soul, anyways, you oftentimes know a decent chunk of their hand. It's almost like a chore having to be like, okay, you have this, and this, right? And then obviously what that means for the cards they have on field, what they can set up, you know, mid-year turn. So I have Rhoda and I have Renault, I have DDR. These are all like halfway decent cards here. But I was just trying to think so hard, like, what combination of cards here, like, what does this Rhoda get me that actually does something? And the only thing I could think of in a reasonable, timely fashion was going for Turpin. That way I could go DDR, pitch Turpin, summon back Little Knight. Turpin effect special summons itself from grave, then hoping I can summon Renault at that window and make Angelica add back something. Right, that was literally my only hope. I wasn't, like, expecting my opponent to chain the DDR, their Caesar Valius here on the DDR. Like, I'd figured maybe they'd, like, wait for some reason and, like, let me do, like, resolve this one play, but they don't. And almost played through all of that. But again, it was just like, if anything, the Angelica's Ring should not have been in my deck. And that's my fault. That's a misside. That should have been anything else. But I digress. I sound like a broken record at this point. We're into game 3. I get to go first. And the crossout engine, I call it an engine. Obviously, 3 crossouts and call by are within the deck, just to help us going first. Again, beat that oftentimes unbeatable varial, which is an excessive amount of hand traps, board breakers the engine can take care of. So yeah, we just want to be able to stop those hand traps. We go for the museum. We resolve that first. A normal summon Fire Flint Lady just kind of goes to show what kind of hand I have. And then I activate the effect of Durendal on the Flint Lady. And of course, obviously Fire Flint Lady has that secret effect where it contributes itself to summon a warrior, level 4 or lower warrior from the hand, and then it cannot be targeted. So, you know, we have that going for us. So I'm trying to figure out a way to get to a sold, get to some sort of standard combo line here, without having to like burn a Renault right here, obviously, to needlessly keep extending. So I just go for Ogier, and again, we've just used Museum, so we have access to that equip special summon effect. So I go for Ogier. Ogier's gonna send Turpin, and we open double cross out, which is really unfortunate. So my opponent has DD Crow, and I actually did not have DD Crow in my deck as a crossout target, as evident by what just happened there. So I'm forced to just, you know, set a crossout as a bluff and just pass turn, which is super, super unfortunate. I was not expecting DD Crow on Turpin, but I mean, I saw, I knew Crow was in his deck, so like, arguably, I could have left a singular Crow in my deck. It's not terrible against Vanquish Soul, right? It's not terrible. So my opponent starts Stake Your Soul. They reveal Lava Golem. I'm like, you know what? I don't know when else I'm going to get to Ash. I think this is a pretty strong Ash, especially since he's revealing a Fire. That would get him to Raisin. So we shut that down immediately. And I think that ended up being the right call, because my opponent really had not the greatest hand. And also, I'm in a very precarious situation right now, as my opponent, they drop evenly on me too, which I also was like, okay, I don't have a cross the target for this either. And I was debating on what to keep. Like, do I keep the museum and hope that he puts a monster on field that I can equip to, or I just keep the Ogier on field and pray I draw a warrior some way into a warrior? And that's what I ended up doing. So I just keep the Ogier on field. And at this point, obviously, we have no other way to engine. It's just like I have to draw into Rhoda, feeling on top of the world right there with that top deck. And yeah, my opponent sets one. We activate the Rhoda. They're like, oh man, that's one hell of a draw. I'm like, you're absolutely right. Do I grab Connector here? I feel like I should be grabbing Connector hands down. Yeah, there's just no reason not to grab Connector, right? Or do I go the Renault route? I don't know. Like, I mean, I feel like both work, I guess. But, like, if my opponent had Droll anyways, I had the cross out for it, and I still get an extra body with the Dolphin? I don't know. Watching that back, maybe, like, I mean, like I said, either works, but my opponent activates Imperm on the Renault. I don't bother crossing that out because I know I still have a play. I go to Angelica because, again, Renault is still treated as a tuner, even if he is Imperm, because he was successfully special summoned from the hand, and he becomes a tuner. That is how that works. I originally thought it didn't work like that, but I've come to know since that it does work like that. So I was like, all right, that's fine. We're just going to keep playing here. And we pay 12 off of our museum. And debating right now whether to grab Almace or whether to grab Durendal. Because I would like to obviously try to go for a game this turn if at all possible. And, you know, not let the game go on any longer than it has to. Because we don't have access to Turpin. And I'd like to get access to Gear Freed, you know, all these things, set it all up if I can. So we go Ogier effect, targeting Angelica. We chain Angelica directly in response. That's going to go and resolve. We summon out Roland, and then we get to send here. And obviously, since I didn't grab Almace, I'm just going to go ahead and grab, you know, or not send Gear Freed here. I'm going to send Maw just because if I went for the Almace route, and I sent Gearfried, like, I would have no way to make Charles synchro, so, like, I just have to go with the play that I'm going for. You know, bring up Magus with the field spell, and then synchro 9 into Charles, and I do activate Magus effect here. I put back a Durendal, I put back Turpin, I put back Fire Flint Lady. Why not go ahead and try and draw into something here, sort of mid-combo. And we draw into a Heritage of the Chalice, which is really, really, really good. Definitely an above average draw there. So we're going to equip Roland to the Charles, and then synchro into Emperor Charles the Great. And then we'll use his effect on summon to equip. And then we activate the Heritage, and this goes ahead and grabs another copy of the field spell. And then we play the new field spell, activate the field spell again, pay 12. And we're going to go ahead and search for the Almace, since we still have Durendal in hand. And I think I can set up a Baron now. Yeah, because we can bring up the field spell, or bring up with the field spell. Like, I could go grab Oliver here with the Durendal, then just pitch the Almace. And then make Baron to have an Omni negate plus a Spell Trap negate. And then I just have end phase, equip like Almace, and then equip like a, you know, I wouldn't have anything good to equip actually, from deck now that I think about it, because Oliver, Magus, and Ogier would all be out of deck. But I just go for a second Charles Link, and the Almace adds back Renault. I wonder if there was an SP play there too, like SP and then make the second Charles. Potentially. Yeah, and also here, my opponent was being very generous, telling me that the card was an Imperm column. And he let me just still use it in a different column, which I would have been happy. I would have been completely fine with him saying, you know, yeah, I'm not going to let you take that back. That's completely fine. But he was being generous, so I was like, all right, fair enough. We'll just keep playing. Those pesky Imperm columns, they'll get everyone. So we special summon the Renault, and Renault is going to go ahead and add back the Ogier. And you can see, like, I don't really know what I was doing here, because, like, I was like, oh, I can try to make SP, but, like, I don't have, like, I don't know exactly what it is I'm trying to do. Like, let's see. Like, I send Turpin. I special summon do I just synchro Baron now? With all? No, that's 9. Oh, no, I was just going for game. Okay, that's what I was trying to do. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, alright. Yeah, I was just trying to set up for game. That's it. That's why I wanted the extra bodies. But I feel like I could have played that a little bit differently, but I guess ultimately it didn't matter. So, yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. Last but not least, a big shout out goes to our current Divine level channel members, who are Cadillacs, Misfid, HGH Cyber, Pony Stark, and Green. Thank you guys so much as always for extremely kind and very, very generous support of the channel.